Advisory Neighborhood Commission 6E's September 2nd, 2014 meeting. I would ask our secretary to call the roll.
6001,
Present.
6002,
Here.
03, 04,
Here.
05, here, 06, 07. Mr. Chairman, everyone is here.
Thank you very much. We do have a quorum to conduct official business. I will call your attention to the agenda before you. We have reordered a couple of items because of a conflict on the part of the legal counsel representing 3 of the matters. And I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I'm sorry, what are the difference?
We moved items 15, 16, and 17 from 3, 4, and 5 down to those numbers because legal counsel for the applicants has a presentation at the Georgetown ANC and has to go at the end of our agenda.
Okay.
The attorney has another
I see.
case
Okay.
in Georgetown.
So moved.
Second.
It's been probably moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. As always, we'll begin with brief presentations from our friends in the Metropolitan Police Department.
I think I'm only running here today. I'm also doing it from the 3rd District.
Did you want to use the microphone?
No, it's okay. Could you repeat your name? Officer Berlin from the 3rd District. I actually patrol from Rhode Island to N Street and from 5th to 9th on foot. So some of you may have seen me walking around, hard to miss. Do you guys have any questions to open up that you want to ask me or any concerns that you want to voice here? I'm going to leave my card again at the table with my email address on it so you can email me directly if you have any issues.
Are there any questions, certainly either from members of the commission or the public?
I was away for a couple of weeks, and there was a couple random shootings. So could you go a little bit?
For those who aren't familiar with the situation in 308 and specifically, I can't speak for one dude, but in 308 there's 3 crews that operate, for lack of a better phrase, on 7th and O, 5th and N, and 8th and R. And at times, they have what they call beefs. They don't get along for whatever reason, simply because they live in different sections of town, different apartment buildings. Someone may look at somebody funny, someone may say, hey, I think I want to date your sister, and violence breaks out. Historically, that's been the case. It's been rather quiet lately. Apparently, there was a few shootings. They're not sure whether it was a result of those quote-unquote beefs or not. By and large, it seems like the individuals they were targeting were in this, from the 7th and O area. Somebody was coming up to 7th and O, either from 5th and N, 8th and R, perhaps Garfield Terrace, and just randomly shooting in the crowds of people. Fortunately, I think only 2 individuals were hit. There's been some sounds of gunshot reports where no one has been actually shot. Those are not categorized as shootings. Those are categorized either as sound of gunshots or damage to property if an article, such as an automobile, is struck. It's an ongoing issue in the neighborhoods. It's quieted down, as I said, a lot from what I understand. I've only been here a year, so I can't speak to the past, only from what I've heard from other fellow officers who said that it was very active in years gone by. The best thing that we can do as police officers is patrol and try to mitigate that and have a presence out there, so it's less likely that somebody's going to want to come and do that when we're around, and that's why I'm out on foot all day walking around to try to lessen some of this problem.
And I want to take a moment to thank you. The officer was at my National Night Out walk. He did a fantastic job.
Thank you, ma'am.
So thank you for coming. It was really good.
You're welcome. Anytime you guys need me to do anything within 11:30 and 7:45, my days off are now going to be Sunday, Monday, so you won't see me on Sunday, Monday. Prior, they were Wednesday, Thursday, things that such as that you'd like me to attend, or if you'd like me to speak somewhere, just email, let me know. I can try to work it into my schedule. I can be available. I try to take a proactive approach to policing. Like I said, you probably see me walking around the neighborhoods all summer. I got here on May 11th.
So officer, we continue to get praise for your approach to policing. And I want to publicly recognize you for that. And I've gotten a lot of thanks to pass along to you from folks at Asbury Dwellings, the senior building over on Marion Street, because they regularly were encountering folks on the east side of the 1500 block of 7th Street that made them uncomfortable. And thanks to your involvement and probably the closure of the variety market, they don't feel threatened on that
Well,
platform.
I appreciate that. The other thing I wanted to say, at least in the area that I am, I'm in a large area for a footbeat officer, but I'm in a relatively small area for overall patrol, as it were. So what I'm trying to accomplish in the area that I'm in is to keep the streets and the sidewalks passable for everyone, so they're not harassed, so the drug dealers aren't out doing their trade, at least when I'm there. And that's been my focus since I got here in May. I think you'll see there's a big difference on 7th Street between P and Q. There's not that, at least the days that I'm there, I can't speak to when my days off, but I've gotten a lot of positive feedback from the community and the business owners that we're all working together to accomplish the same end and make it livable for everyone. So.
There's a question for you?
Yes, this doesn't have to do, this has to do with general safety. There's the intersection at New Jersey and O. There's gonna be, they're opening up the O Street where like the new Dunbar is. There's, during rush hour, there's a crosswalk, but there's no stop signs or even like yield pedestrians. And I've noticed that drivers get very angry or something when it's like in traffic. We do have the right of way to cross.
Right.
But there's no type of signage to, I'm not sure if there'll be more traffic, especially when O Street opens, when they finally open that portion of O between New Jersey and North Capitol, or First. But especially during peak hours when you want to cross there, it's very unsafe or something. Is there some type of way to get like a yield pedestrian sign or something so that they are more, like I've got people scream at me like you can cross, like.
I wouldn't be the one to answer that because you probably have to call the DPW or somebody.
Department of Transportation.
To go online and find out who to contact now. I know that sounds like I'm passing the buck, but we don't
No, I
handle
understand.
the signal types of things. We try to help with enforcement when we see violations, obviously. I can't do as much of that as I would like to because I'm on foot and chasing,
But that's hard.
I've tried to do that, it doesn't work out real well.
So like the littering law came into effect.
Yes, I'm
So
very happy about
how
that.
are the officers gonna be proactive with that? Or are they just gonna go, okay, he just threw his cigarillo pack on the ground? Or what is gonna be their position? Because it can be a big mess.
Littering's a big pet peeve of mine, and I've tried to get my constituency, the people that I know in my neighborhood, to try to pick up after themselves, and I think they're starting to do that, to get online, and get online and plan with that, with what I've suggested. I think some officers, just like in every other way they police and the way that they cite violations, some are gonna be very proactive about certain things. Some people go nuts over cab drivers, their pet peeve is trash. So, certain officers, in a nutshell, will write violations for it. Others will look the other way and say that's somebody else's problem. I hope people start enforcing it because that's how we're going to get a lot of these individuals to sort of follow suit when they know that it's going to hit them in the wallet. But we all know that most people that are on the street, they don't really care. They just throw their styrofoam containers. I don't know if you've seen Saturday morning on O Street between 6th and 7th. I mean, it's just horrendous. And the people that run the park are the ones that are responsible for sticking that up. It's terrible.
Officer, did you ever catch the armed robbers from the incident on Fifth Street? Did you all respond to?
Not that I've heard. I can follow up with the detectives and let you know via email directly to you. I can ask. I I have not heard anything further on that.
There was a camera put on the corner of 6th and M. Are there any more plans, put up any more cameras in the areas we have 7th Street and 5th Street?
Not that I know of. That would also be something that that you could address directly with my commander, and he could channel it in the proper direction. Commander Kitcher, and he's extremely responsive. He's very hands-on, and he likes to make sure he manages every aspect of the district.
Great, anything else for the officer? If not, thank you very much.
I'm gonna leave some cards up front. If anybody wants to grab one, feel free to email me. And again, I'm in PSA 308, which is, if you're in 1D, I'm sorry, I can't help you. But feel free to email me. He'll tell you. I run a Legs business, which is my prior career. So, thank you. Good luck. Be safe.
Thank you again. So just for the folks who were inquiring about the New Jersey pedestrian safety issues, we've actually gotten some recommendations linked to a number of intersections that we're going to be taking up with DDOT in terms of improvements, so we'll add that to the list as well.
Thank you.
Moving to our first case of the evening, 1100 6th Street Northwest. Do we have representatives from Douglas Development present? So this is a request for support for historic preservation approval for the renovation and additions to a historic building at the northwest corner of 6th and L Streets Northwest.
Are these different from the ones that have?
Do you want to start with the introduction?
Yeah, sure. I'm Aaron Townsend. I'm project manager for Douglas Development for this 6th and L Street project.
I'm Andrea Gordine, I'm a project manager with Douglas Development.
Nick Thomas with the Tunovich Associates, one of the architects working on the project.
I'm Kelsey Osman, also with Antunovich.
You can take it away.
All right, so this project is on the intersection of L and 6th Street. It's a historic townhouse that we're infilling around the existing two other properties with retail and office space. The objective of this project was to kind of keep the townhouse its own historic entity without trying to duplicate it or try to work with it. I guess we're trying to make it a little bit different with the other two buildings. We used red brick, which is in a few of the buildings around the area, and then gray brick that was also we found in areas in the neighborhood to try and complement the building. So yeah, this is 6th and L Street. Any questions? I'd be happy to answer.
Hi, everyone. This is in my area, and I can tell you people are very happy and very excited that this property is going to get started eventually.
Great.
Because it has been sitting there, and the empty space and all that. And from what I posted it to my Facebook page, I got positive feedback. I think it looks fantastic in the rendering, so I'm not sure about. Now, is that just a green roof? I didn't see these other pictures. Or what's on the roof?
Correct. We're proposing a green roof on top of the new roofs while keeping the historic
Okay.
gabled roof.
So no one's walking up there. That's just the utility.
Correct. Yes.
And so, wait, another question. So, is it going to be any residential, all commercial? What's the?
There is no residential.
No, okay, that's fine. So, how would it be divided up, or do you know yet?
We do not know yet. I mean, it will probably, our goal is to be ground floor, commercial. It'll probably be hopefully office use on the 3rd floor eventually. But right now, we don't have any tenants signed up or anything, so we're not sure how exactly it'll be divided up right now. It's just a proposed shell at the time.
So that bottom space, I mean, it's going to be exciting, but they're only going to be talking about parking. So whatever goes down there, and there is no parking. Am I correct in this, or is that?
There is a parking lot here.
Okay, so it's that side, the LP
Yes.
side.
Yep.
Yeah. So we created a kind of a false facade for the driveway and then you drive into the back of the property where we have parking spots.
And how many spots would it be?
We currently show 6 spots.
I know at the committee meeting last week, we talked about the first floor and second floor of the original townhouse could possibly be a restaurant. I was hoping that, I gave my card to a couple of, I don't remember the gentleman's name specifically.
Paul, yes.
Okay, I hope he's gonna get in touch with me, because there are 2 or 3 restaurants that are looking for places and they don't want, but something as neat as a historic building. So please, 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 before they sign up with somebody else, have someone get in touch with me, because some of the places in the area close to Mount Vernon Triangle area where I am, people are looking for places. So, you know, one looks like a really, really good restaurant group out of New York, so
We
please.
get phone calls every single day about every single one of our properties, so leasing for us is never an issue. But we'll definitely be in touch with you. Right now, our focus is the historical preservation piece, because our hearing is this month.
So on that, I just wanted to share with folks that might say, why are they putting more modern-looking additions on this historic building? Well, that's what the Historic Preservation Review Board prefers. They really don't want to see cookie-cutter architecture, which just, you know, looks like it belongs from a certain period. I mean, that's the easy way out. The harder way out is to actually make the historic building stand out by the distinction between the new construction and the old. So just for folks that might be scratching their heads about that.
We love it. Like I said, just love it, that's it.
So, the committee report, did you want to just present the recommendation?
The committee met last week, and we had some long conversations on the building and its offerings. And the committee voted to support the recommendation to historic, so that this could proceed. Yeah, whatever.
So now we'll pass the microphone to Commissioner Nigro for a motion.
Okay, I motion that ANC 6E support the plans for 1100 6th Street Northwest for historic preservation, approval, renovation, and additions to the existing building for Douglas Development. And they will communicate to the Preservation Review Board. Okay.
Second motion.
Great.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the part of the commission? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I think-
Moving on to 416 Ridge Street Northwest.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh.
We've gone, we adjusted coming into something special.
Is on here?
Yep.
Yes, okay.
So this is a case that actually has gone before the Historic Preservation Review Board, and as of last week's meeting with the applicants, it was determined that their architect was moving to accommodate certain recommendations on the part of the Historic Preservation Review Board staff so that this could be approved. Did you want to, report on where you are with the
Yeah,
architect?
unfortunately, our architect was unable to complete it in time for this month's meeting, so we're gonna have to ask to be put on the next schedule.
No, I think we can get around that.
Or can we? Okay,
Well, but
great.
that was their main concern though.
But we don't want to lose you. Please stay
Okay.
up here.
But I have some feedback from my constituents.
Sure.
All right, so,
This is my area. They are supportive, but there is concern about the driveway part. And there was some concern about actually if you own that, but I assume that you do. And that there's concern with the utility wires back there and access to the utility wires back there. Apparently there, now I don't recall this, I didn't go that high, Donna, that there was some access issues back there. Is that correct? Is it beyond the fence?
There's a Verizon
Yes.
Comcast.
The Verizon, yes.
Right.
Right.
The
Yep.
wire, there's one set of wires that are interfering with any building, but Verizon has assured us that they found another way to wrap, because it's not running parallel. They've got one set of wires that run perpendicular. That run over to the buildings on M Street. So Verizon already assured us that they've come up with a resolution to that, and they're going to change those wires. The pole, as we understand it, has an easement attached to it that was never recorded, but it's so old that it's kind of grandfathered in.
It's a prescription easement,
Prescription
so,
easement.
and the way we drew the property is it has no effect on the layout of the property.
Because I had a very apparent, one of my constituents that knows about the history about that entire driveway / pole. So, and that's a major concern that would all work out.
Yep, we've already been in contact with Verizon, and we've been dealing with them since November on it. Yep.
There hasn't been too much concern. I mean, there was some confusion initially about what was going on, and I addressed
Right.
that
A
too.
lot of rumors.
A lot of
floating around.
rumors. I like to talk on Ridge. Is anyone here from Ridge Street? Do you have any concerns about this?
I think you've voiced them.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
One of the main things is we have an irregular lot line on our property, and then because of that, our property is basically two separate pieces. It has a pipeline and then a backyard property. And what we're trying to do is basically the 860 square foot house that we have right now, we want to do an attachment to the side and the rear that basically comes out to 10 by 15, and then connect it with a rear structure that is going to be 18 by 20. And it has to be connected because we are a semi-detached property, and that's one of the zoning considerations for us to be a flat. We have to connect the two properties to make it one property. So it's got to be connected by a trellis unless I go in front of the BZA, which I could, but I'll put up a trellis. I could care less. That's not impacting me whatsoever.
So the main concern why they're here also is because of the drawings and
Right.
architect, but, so,
And the drawing with the architect is basically the little part on the front extension, the rear house that's 18 by 20, you can't see it from the street whatsoever, so that's
Tremendous
not a
street.
concern. And it's gonna basically look like an alley garage, so that it blends in with what's behind 426 Bridge Street. Even though we're not an alley, we're still gonna blend it to make it appear like an alley garage building. And the area in front that we're talking about is right next to my house. I didn't come up with the full drawings because the architect was bringing them, but I have this itty bitty house that's about 12.5 feet wide. There's a little parkway or strip of land that goes back to the rear property, and what zoning has required of me is to keep my parking in front because I have the curb cut out. And because I'm a semi-detached conforming property, they're requiring me to keep that one parking space there. Historical in DC actually wanted us to remove it, but zoning said he wouldn't let us remove it. Another thing we asked for was a rooftop deck on the first floor to the back of the property, and historical said no. But they said yes to way back on the garage building that we have in the back. But they said no to the front property and yes to the back. Other than that, the area that we're in discussion about is this front part of the house where the garage ends, what is that gonna look like? And what zoning has told us that they wanna see is a little porch area in front, along with something very similar to what the house is right now.
okay, so
So
Don,
just put a 5-foot porch in front.
let me tell you, so for the benefit of my constituents, and as you know, I'm very public, and I put the
Yep,
information
absolutely.
out, they will need to see that, and so I
I know,
asked.
and that's what we
Okay,
were
so, and
hoping to
I'm-
have tonight.
Yeah, so I asked that whether we table this to next week.
Absolutely, that's what we
Okay,
asked
cool.
for.
All right, great.
We're good.
Great.
All right, thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
Is that a motion to table?
Yes, motion, I motion that we table 416 Ridge Street Northwest until next month. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you very much. 1534 Fifth Street Northwest. This is a public space permit application for a curb cut for new construction.
Great. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to present to the ANC. Just by way of background, this is...
Can you introduce yourself, please?
Sorry, my name is Abraham Stokvar, and I'm developing the project on 1534 Fifth Street. And just sort of by way of background, this is the first kind of project that I've done, so it's sort of a new process for me. And I'm looking to building a house in this lot, for which where I'm hoping to live. So I'll be a member of kind of the neighborhood and the community, so to speak. In terms of the property, when I first acquired the lot, it was an empty lot. And on numerous occasions when I would pass by, people would throw rubbish there. It was, I'd have homeless people living there and so on. And so what we're doing is we're building a semi-detached row house there. And I think when that is done and completed and the construction is said and done, I think it'll be more of a sightly place and better benefit to the street than if it was left as an unsightly empty lot. In terms of the property itself, it's a 3.5-story house where we're going to be building 2 units. It's going to have a brick facade, and as I mentioned, I'll be looking to live in one of those units myself. And really, the purpose of why I'm here today is to really seek ANC's support for curb cut. We actually have space for driveway on the property, but the only way the property can be, or the driveway can be accessed is if we run to the curb cut. So there's a public space committee meeting here later on this month, which one of the processes is to try to get ANC support, and it's really with that aim that I'm here today. And I'll leave it at that. And if you guys have any further questions, obviously we'd be very happy to answer them.
So this is in Commissioner Chapel's single-member district. Any comments?
Yes. I talked with Mr. Sakwa regarding his application for a curb cut, and I've received a letter from his next door neighbor who is in support of Mr. Sakwa's application for a curb cut. However, I have received many other notices from my constituents that they are opposed to this curb cut. Parking is such a huge problem on this block, and there's no other property that has a curb cut. And other than Gaston Boston, who's directly next door to this property, everybody else that has contacted me and I've contacted, they are opposed to it because it will put added stress on everyone else who have been on their block for a significant amount of time, that they would have a harder time finding parking, while Mr. Sakwa, who we welcome you to the neighborhood, would not have the problem that they have been suffering with. So for that reason, I will oppose this application, and I would ask that the commission also oppose it. I would say to Mr. Sakwa, I met him, I believe that he means very well, and he wants to be a positive contributor to this community and to the neighborhood. But if you have space, and if you could get your neighbors, not just your next door neighbor, but a significant portion of the community on this block and around this block, to be supportive of your curb cut, you could come back before us in the future, and things may be different then. So I move that ANC 60 oppose the application for a curb cut, and that we communicate our opposition to the Public Space Committee of the Department of Transportation.
I'll second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on part of the commission? Were there any comments from any members of the audience? Yes, Mr. Moore.
I would just add, and I appreciate Commissioner's notion, but even on the 1400 block, I live on the 1500 block with this property. I've lived one home there for 14 years. I haven't seen any homeless people camping out there, but it is was sort of a blight. The problem is on the 1400 block, we've had at least 3 or 4 new constructions, ground up constructions, and no one's received that curb cut on that block. It's totally out of character with the types of blocks that we live on. In other areas, it might be appropriate, but not on our block. Thank you.
All right, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. It's unanimous. Thank you very much. Moving on to 899 O Street Northwest. This is the Camberwell Suites Hotel. Is there a representative present? Yes. So this is a request for a valet staging zone and a loading zone for the hotel.
Hi, my name is Susan Linsky. Most of you know me because I work for Roadside Development. I also have my own firm, Linsky Group, and we're representing Cambria Suites. And during the development process, Cambria, they dropped the ball on putting in a valet, and we're coming back around to ask for the commission's approval. It's gone through the Public Space Committee. All the agencies have approved.
So the reason that we're hearing this now, after the Public Space Committee has heard it, is because the application date from Cambria Suites would have caused, and the fact that the commission does not meet in August would have caused this to be put off by yet another month. So this is in my single member district. I advised the District Department of Transportation of the situation, and I told them that we would vote this evening, and then we would communicate the resulting vote. But barring anything unforeseen, the curb cut will be approved, and obviously that's a pretty important part of a hotel operation, to be able to have people pull up in front of the hotel, drop off, unload, and have their cars taken to the garage. So, again, this is in my single member district, and I would move that the Advisory Neighborhood Commission 6C support the public space operation application for the valet and loading zone for the Cambria Suites Hotel at 899 O Street Northwest, and we communicate that support to the Public Space Committee, the Department of Transportation, and the Director of the agency. I would ask for a second.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
Yes.
Yes.
What is the hotel doing right now? How do they load and unload and?
There's some temporary loading right now, but they need a permit.
Do they have a permit for the loading they're doing now?
They have a temporary notice permit.
The city issued them something?
When they got their application, when the application came in, the city provided a notice for people that it could be, they could be parking there.
That's what was communicated to me by DDOT. Anything further? No? Question from the audience.
Yes, will they be, where the loading dock is, will it be cutting into the sidewalk that's already there?